let's go back. The criticism of the foundations of the mathematical sciences has fully disclosed that the hypothesis of a pure materiality. So this recurring word here, pure materiality, and he defined it as an enduring stuff situated in the absolute. And somehow for him, pure materiality is related to absolute space. Is unworkable, and he refers to Whitehead, and he refers to Einstein's relativity in general, as if Einstein's theory of relativity have disproved the notion of, or displaced the notion of absolute space totally, which it hasn't really. In space, an independent void. Is a space an independent void in which things are situated and which would remain intact if all things were withdrawn? Yeah, but what about relational notion of space, which I mentioned before? That is compatible with a lot of physics. But also, what about Cartesian notion of space as extension, or matter as extension? So there, matter space is just a. So Descartes doesn't have a conception of empty space, or conception of a space as a void or as a container. So it's not clear why he is associating. So his main aim is, let's dwell on this a bit. It seems like here his main aim is, obviously we might have to, as it is a won't. As we continue with our reading, we revise our reading as well. But at this moment, what seems to me is that what was I getting at? So what I was saying was that pure materiality seemed to be his main target here. And obviously pure materiality is related to either denial of mind, so some sort of materialism, which is monist materialism, or dualism of Kantian sort. And his main criticism seems to be aimed at dualism, because that seems to be, for him, I think that is more prevalent, or more dominant version. So that would be a matter and mind, or body and mind dualism. So that's what his main aim is, to critique and transcend, and replace both of them with some sort of idealist monism. And his critique of space, absolute space, space as void, should be situated in this context. So he somehow thinks that the notion of absolute space is important for any notion of pure materiality, any conception of matter-mind dualism, or matter as or monist materialism, I guess. So his discussion of space is not the main focus, but it has become a main focus, because in his mind, pure materiality and the notion of absolute space goes hand in hand. And then with the notion of space comes the notion of change and motion, and he's interested in the notion of motion independently, I think, as well. So his discussion of Zeno and possibility of motion, etc., should be, and he will bring in Bergson in this context as well, because he thinks that Islam is a dynamic way of conception, and so he's against any notion of any philosophy which thinks that motion is illusory or motion is unreal, etc. So that's just context, just a bit of a context. Okay, before we move on. So in this context, now we can